Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Collider for another exclusive interview. And it's another interview for Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist, which you all know I am mighty obsessed with. But I'm especially excited for this interview because I covered it a little bit last season, but I never got to talk to Alex Newell. And now it's finally time. I'm so happy to have you here. I can't congratulate you enough.
Oh my God, thanks for having me. Also, thanks for being a big fan of the show.
Huge fan. Admittedly, late to the game fan because
That's fine.
I made assumptions based on the first promo, and those were wrong. I'm going to keep emphasizing that to anyone who assumes that it's a certain thing because this show has so much to offer. All right, end rant. Let's talk about you. So I want our viewers to get to know you a little bit. So kind of going back to the beginning with this, I'm curious, what drew you at first to showing off your craft through a reality TV competition? And is there anything about that experience that you think maybe helped you hone your craft that you might not have gotten elsewhere?
I mean, you're going for the hard-hitting questions of the Glee Project, and I thank you. I was a wee, tiny little baby 18-year-old who was a fan of Glee, and doing that show, oh my God, it was like musical theater television boot camp. I mean, every day was a new lesson on how to perform in front of the camera and how to sing in a recording studio and how to act. And just like we were working ungodly hours from like, I mean, they would turn the lights on in our bunk rooms at like 6 in the morning, and then cameras were just fully in there. That show prepared me for everything. So it's like at 3 o'clock in the morning on set now, I'm just like, what's up? What are we doing? What's next? We're gonna do it again? Great, that's fun. Let's keep going. But no, it really helped me. It honed in my craft, and it really taught me all of the lessons that I would need that I've used and given me all the tools that I use to this day.
I got another hard-hitting question for this one. For anybody else out there, because there's still tons of reality competitions, for anyone out there who is going into one of those in the entertainment field, what would you recommend them do to make the most of the experience?
You find a tribe, and on the show, you can't think that it's a one-person thing. You have to, one, trust the process, two, trust the people that are around you, and have fun. I mean, we were genuinely very upset saying goodbye to people at the end of the week because we did like them, we trusted them, we were trying to do, we had this great common denominator in common. And so, yeah, you have to be able to be open and trust and not be upset about looking like the bitch sometimes, because that happens.
I feel like a lot of that advice I could back pocket and take to like any environment out there, and it'll probably
Yes.
serve you well. So tiptoeing, I guess, into like Glee proper now. You jump into that show. It's already, well into its run. It's very popular. And this is like your first big on-screen credit. So looking back, is there anything about that experience, the environment on set, the people that you were working with that now makes you think, I am so grateful I had that experience on that set with those people?
You know, yes. You're coming into such a well-oiled machine, and you're coming into to these people that have been doing this longer than you have, and you have to be willing to listen and be malleable to the experience, because you're coming into their house at the end of the day. And I was going into their own, something that they've cultivated, that they've made, the relationships that they've had already, and you kind of have to push your way in without pushing your way in at the same time. And I learned so much from so many people on that show, and of just how to like do little things that they weren't teaching me on the Glee Project, like finding my light. Naya Rivera taught me how to find my light. She's like, you just always have to be in your light, because like if you're not in your light, you can't be seen. And I was just like, what does that mean? She's like, find the light and you will be seen. And I said, oh, okay. And it's stuff like that, or just kind of how to treat your body throughout those long hours, and what you're putting in it does come back out in a negative way, especially if you're working 16-hour days, 5 days a week. And yeah, there's so many different life lessons that I'm super happy that I had on that show specifically.
So now I have to ask specifically because I have a coffee intake problem and it serves me well for a little while, but then you crash. What is
Yeah.
it that you turn to on a very, very long day on set that kind of keeps that energy level up?
Um, I'm the person that I'll have little mini meltdowns if I'm really tired, like just little ones, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, what is happening? What is happening?" And I'll just have like a piece of candy, something sugary that not too substantial, a piece of candy to get you through. Because, honey, when you're exerting all the energy a lot of the time, then also I'm a good person to like do a full bare minimum mark through rehearsals. If the camera's not on my face, I'm giving you the bare minimum. You do things that conserve your energy throughout the day because you learn that if you keep giving by not act, I'm thinking I'm doing Broadway again. By act two, you have nothing. By take 35, you have nothing and you're burnt out. But a little piece of candy goes a long way. I also am a Coca-Cola junkie sometimes, so a can of that and I'm good.
Yeah, I got a little of that in me as well. And you also paved the way perfectly to my next question, because I did want to ask you about making your Broadway debut. And specifically, what did you learn from that experience? Even having had so much experience prior, what is it about the Broadway day to day that kind of made you go, I didn't know how I had to adapt in that way?
I mean, finding a daily routine. I was eating the same thing every day. I was drinking the same things every day. I was doing the same things every single day. I'd wake up first thing in the morning, I'd get some coffee in me, I'd do some physical warm ups, I'd do some vocal warm ups, I'd run down, get on the train, get to the theater, put my makeup on, put the mic on, run around, talk to everybody, do the show, as soon as the curtain went out, signed, and then went direct to a bar, had a drink, and then pressed repeat every single day. I probably shouldn't have done the bar thing every single night, but you know what? I was young back then and I was dumb. But we've moved on. We've moved on. But no, you find this like routine that you continually do all of the time, and it's because it attributes to the 8 shows a week and doing the same thing on stage 8 shows a week. Because if you do something different in show one, you create these bad habits in show two, and then they carry to show three, and then you get to show eight, and you're just like, why is everything not where it needs to be? What is happening? But yeah, daily ritual routines.
I feel like I give you a pass on the bar thing though, because you were right smack in the heart of Manhattan, and there are some good places to go
They're
in that
really good
area.
places. And like I'm a person. I love being around people for as an only child. As an only child who grew up like with a single parent who was working all the time. I was just like, there's nobody around me right now. I feed off of people's energy and I just love talking. And my cast and my crew and the people that I worked with, I adore still to this day. And like going across the street to have a drink. And even then, that was so routine that I became friends with people that worked at that bar. And so it was like, I had to go say hi. That
I
was the biggest trap.
I might have lived across the street from that theater, so I think I probably know all the bars you were going to. All right, creeping closer to Zoey now. I did want to ask about one other pilot before. I wanted to ask about Imaginary Friend because I do think it's valuable to talk about bumps in the road along the way and how you overcame them. So, you get a lead role in a super cool show like that, and then it
Yeah,
doesn't get picked up after the pilot. How do you kind of not get super bummed and keep your spirits up as you're forging forward after something like that?
I've never seen it. I've never seen Imaginary Friend. My mother's seen it, my neighbors have seen it. I have so many people around me that have seen it. The person that was physically in it, me, the imaginary friend, titled Imaginary Friend, never saw it. I think that really helped me kind of like disassociate from it because I filmed it so fast. It was like a 2 maybe 3 day shoot for me because it was a 30-minute half hour like sitcom, like I was in 5 scenes with Megan, who was the lead. I don't even know what her real name was on the show. That's how disassociated I am with that show. But I mean, sometimes disassociating from it does kind of help you move on at the end of the day because it was my first lead of a television show that wasn't about me singing or being performative. It was just baseline of me acting. And I could have gone down this giant rabbit hole and like, I'm a terrible actor. It didn't get picked up. It was me, 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 me. But I had nothing to do with it. I think that some things happen and some things don't. And if that show was a hit, I wouldn't be on Zoeys now.
Just going back to something you just said, because I love you on Zoey, where I get to see everything that you're capable of, but is going with a just a straightforward acting opportunity something that you really want to get next?
I don't want to say yes, but I don't want to say no. Maybe. I think, to be honest, last season, a lot of it was me just acting and singing every now and again. And which is a 180 from last season to this season, where I'm just like, hey, let's go back to last season where I wasn't singing as much. But I can't say no, because I do love singing, and it is a nice time to show what you can do in everything.
Can I put in a request to see you do a little bit of everything?
Yes.
We're open to that, but everything else in the process. All right. The very, very beginning of Zoey, because I already told everyone up top what my first reaction to the show was, but what was yours? The very first, I don't know, short description, one pager that crossed your eyes. What did you think of the show compared to what it turned out to be?
It's super strange. I remember getting an email from my agency manager being like, you have an audition for this new show on a Thursday. And I said, okay, yay, let's see, because it was right around the time that we had just announced that Once on This Island was closing. And I was just like, well, on to the next. What's happening, everybody? And it was pilot season. And I remember 5 minutes later getting an email being like, JK, it's canceled. And I was just like, all right, never mind. And then 20 minutes later, I get a phone call being like, you're going straight to test. Can you go to LA tomorrow? And I said, can you tell me what the project is? And they sent the materials again, and the breakdown of just reading who Mo was, a carefree, loving person that's always high, that can sing and just knows life and is expressive in life. And then 30-year-old bisexual Black woman. I said, I am definitely not 30, but we can keep going with everything else if we want to. And I just loved that this person knows music so well, because music is my first love, and music is something that I've always gravitated to. And then as I was reading the script and I got to this little, don't want to say monologue, but this little speech that Mo was giving of how a good song can make you feel things that words can't express. I'll always hold that to me, because I've always believed that a good song can make you feel things that words can't express. I don't know what it is, if it's the melody, if it's the lyric, if it's just you heard this song a long time ago at a specific moment, and it really expresses that feeling and that emotion you were feeling at that time, that sticks with you for your entire life. And I'm the first person to say that music always brings people together. No matter what, if you like a song and somebody else likes a song, but you have differences, that song will bring you together, because if it's that one song, there's so many other songs just like that song that you'll have in common, and you would know that you had that in common with each other.
I love the way you describe that. It reminds me a lot of how I think about just, I guess, TV and film in general, too. A lot of times those stories allow me to tap into emotions and, certain forms of understanding that I wouldn't be able to access otherwise. And that is why we need more art in our lives all the time.
We all need all of the art all of the time. I'm a huge art junkie. I love just like sitting and I watch terrible television. I mean, I don't know why I didn't watch Imaginary Friend, but I'll watch anything.
Now I have to ask you, what's the last thing you binge watched?
I'm watching The Mick right now.
I've heard good things about The Mick.
It is mind-boggling how funny it is. Like, very funny. I was just like, this is hilarious. Why did it get canceled? I don't ask questions like that, but because I know the answer is not what I want to hear. But it was very funny.
I need to add that to the list, as though I don't have like a million things to watch right now.
You're kind of busy.
I like it that way. All right. One thing I love asking about in general is being number one on the call sheet. In particular, what being number one on the call sheet can mean for the tone on set and just how everybody feels as far as giving their best work. So what does Jane do for you in that respect that you really appreciate?
Oh, Jane. Jane is just so giving in all of her performances. She gives everything that she has. And I have to tell her, I'm like, girl, hold back. I don't need all of that for my take because you're killing yourself. She's so giving a as an actor. Looking into her eyes every time that I'm either going through something emotional or very exciting, or just how we spar with each other. She's so giving and accepting of a lot as well. She does set that tone for me, at least. I don't know what everybody else could say, but for me, that's what she sets the tone as.
I love hearing that, especially about someone that I admire a lot and love their work in general. So it doesn't surprise me she has that touch here. I guess the bad transition here, but I'm curious about your experience working with different directors on each of the episodes, in particular, the first episode of season 2. What is it like jumping back on set with a director who wasn't part of season 1 as a director? And especially after having had all that time off, is it still easy to kind of get back into the swing of things?
Um, yes and no. It's like you get the first script and you're just like, what is actually happening? Or who is this character? Who is this person? I don't remember this person at all. And you still have those same questions with a new director at the same time where they're figuring it out and you've had months off, you've had a whole pandemic off to literally forget about who this person is and kind of go back to it. Working with a new director is kind of fun in a way because you have fresh eyes on all the situations and new options and choices, that a plethora of wealth of knowledge, if you will, of someone that's just on the outside looking in, being like, hey, I can guide you. Do you have questions? Here's what I think. Because I remember there was something that I could not understand. Like I literally was just like, what is happening? Why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? And John was just like, it's this. And I was just like, oh, all right. And it just opened up everything clicked. It opened up this door and I was just like, let's keep going. I think it's nice to work with different directors. Yeah, I'm a fan of working with different directors. It gets stagnant working with the same ones over and over again. But, we are in the middle of a pandemic right now, we only have 2 directors. So it's not too stifling.
That's a really interesting switch. I don't know how far you're into shooting season 2 right now, but how has that been, sticking with just these 2 directors?
It's been nice because, they go on and off. So one does the odds, one does the evens. And we're really just kind of, since they weren't here all last season, it's not like they know everything. So I think that part is nice because that we still have these fresh eyes on this text and this world of everything. And there's only so much you can do in some of these texts and some of these musical numbers and these emotions. And so they're very trusting with the actors and letting us do and express what we want, but also leading us in the right direction. So working with them is kind of like, oh, all right. It's like walking, really. We're all just putting one foot in front of the other.
Random question. Have you seen Shopping Mall?
No.
Can you please watch it so you could talk to John about it?
Yeah.
It's like it's an 80s horror classic and I'm a little obsessed with it.
I'm on it.
He gets killed off very early, but it's it's a cheesy 80s slasher movie that has a big place in my heart.
I actually will watch anything John Chleski's in.
All right. I am going to put up the spoiler warning right now for the first 2 episodes of Zoey season 2. If you're not caught up, this next question is not for you. So there's the warning. Push pause, go watch the episodes, then come right back and the video picks up right here. So you're all set. So this kind of ties back to something you were just talking about. I was wondering what your reaction was to learning about Mo's past with his friend/business partner. Even having spent a whole season in that role, did it surprise you that he was capable of doing that?
Yes. It really did. And that was one of the things that another one of those things that I was just like, what is this about? And I had the question with Dawson, I was like, what is this about? Like this just pops up out of nowhere. Like what are we doing? And he told me the story of how it's a personal story to him. And I still was just like, I don't get it. It seems so heavy for such like a light topic. Like it's not like we're really just diving into this and going straight to it. And then it took a director, Anya, to like explain it and say it's not really that. It's like the situation isn't what you're scared of. It's the ruining a relationship with someone that is new to you, because if you ruin that relationship, you ruin the relationship that you have with Zoey as well, because they're together. They're literally together this episode. And I think that that weight of it all really clicked a lot of things into perspective for me, that this is someone that's fighting to keep what they already have, because that relationship in the back's already ruined. And they just like, honestly, I don't have to do this. I don't have to sign anything. I don't have to do any of this. Let's just keep things as they are, because they're perfectly fine with how they are right now.
I also just appreciated the unique approach to that kind of business arrangement too. I feel like most perspective isn't one we usually get to see. It's usually the obvious of, I don't want to enter into a business agreement because I feel like I'm going to get cheated out of something. And
Yeah.
that's such a very relatable other reaction you could have to such a situation. So I appreciated that.
I mean, once I got there.
You definitely did. I can assure you that. Before I have to let you go here, just overall, I think you are giving viewers a lot through this role, but what do you take from Mo? What is something about his experience that you hold on to every single day?
You know, a fearlessness. I think Mo is more fearless than I am. I'm extremely confident. I am very outlandish with my speech and tongue and expression, but there is also a second thought about a lot of things. And I do second think a lot of my decisions, my choices, how I say things, when I say things, and Mo doesn't. And it's kind of, if it comes up, it comes out. And I adore that about this character.
I couldn't agree more. That's just one of many qualities that I love about Mo. And Alex, you're awesome too. I'm so happy we finally got the chance to talk. I'm so happy for you with this show. And again, door wide open. Every opportunity you want, I want to go in your direction.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course. Big thanks to everybody out there for watching this interview. Zoey's Extraordinary Playlist on NBC on Tuesdays at 8, 7 Central. Seriously, you do not want to miss it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you soon.